In a world overrun by neocon warmongers, and with the mass media in the pockets of the cabal elite, there remains one bastion of truth amidst the confusion. One beacon of light shining through the murky fog of spin and Islamophobic propaganda. That's right. It's the NP Radio Security Council. The final frontier in the fight for freedom and fairness. I give you the Security Council.
أبدا لن نحيد أبدا لن نحيد أبدا لن نحيد عن خطى الإيمان دربنا درب قويم دربنا درب قويم بالهدى القرآني أبدا لن نحيد أبدا لن نحيد أبدا لن نحيد عن خطى الإيمان دربنا درب قويم دربنا درب قويم بالهدى القرآني سائر في طريق الحق يا جند الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. You're listening to Middle Path Radio, and this is the Security Council. This is a warm welcome tonight, Tuesday night, 10 p.m. on Middle Path Radio from all the brothers in the studio. My name is Ahmed, and I'm joined tonight again, as usual, by my co-host after a long stint away due to virus that's been rampaging all of Africa and Europe. Is that correct, Brother Zain?
Something like that. Just been a bit busy.
Okay, so it wasn't any. I thought you had a travel ban. You were quarantined, and no, you made that comeback already.
I banned myself actually. It wasn't a travel ban.
It was for in the interest of the rest of the members of the public. We've got a very busy schedule lined up tonight. We sent out a few important tweets regarding the kind of topics that we're going to be covering on tonight's show. If you could just maybe give us a very quick, maybe what's the first thing that we might discuss, or they don't have to be in any particular order. Brother Zain, what did we have lined up for tonight?
I think one of the topical news that came out this week was in regards to the Parliament and a big cover-up, if you want to call it, regarding the paedophilia that was been happening since 1979.
That's correct. So we want to discuss a little bit about that, of course, and we're also asking a very important question on Middle Path Radio, namely in the Security Council. We'd like to know what your thoughts are to this question. Is child abuse an endemic problem in the English establishment? I repeat, is child abuse an endemic problem in the English establishment? We say that not just because of what Brother Zain has mentioned, okay, in terms of what appears to be an alleged cover-up, okay, but also because a man has come forward. I think he's now in his 40s, and he's made claim that he's a victim of child abuse by somebody very high in the in the higher upper echelons of the UK establishment. We'll be going into that.
At that time, he was part of the government. That was alleged, isn't it?
That's correct. Yes. So he was a very senior official. We'll go into that in very short due process. One of the other questions we are asking. Okay, this is slightly different to the topic that we just mentioned, but it is relevant again because of the memorials that are taking place and the moments of silence that people are observing across the country here in the UK, and that is really to do with wearing the poppy. What does the poppy actually stand for? So the kind of question we're asking is it okay to force Muslim women to wear their poppy hijab, in inverted commas? Again, is it okay to force Muslim women to wear their poppy hijab? We're also asking, conversely, is it sensible to burn poppies? So we're looking at those two questions with regards to the poppy, and what, in general, we're going to ask a wider question. What does the poppy actually stand for? What does it mean to you? So get in touch with us on 07477 080 248. That's 07477 080 248. You're listening to Middle Path Radio, and this is the Security Council. We have one other, somebody's been tweeting some very controversial things on Twitter.
Yeah, it's I don't like to call her a lady. So I don't even know she's respected enough to be called a lady. But this person called Catie Hopkins tweeted recently about Muslims and in particular Palestinians and asking for really calling for genocide, if you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
And so you're asking, why has this nasty woman not been sacked yet? Why is this witch not behind bars?
Which witch is this, and who's this nasty one? What's her name?
Catie Hopkins. Catie Hopkins. I mean, she's said many controversial things in the past. And if this, what she said of late, what she tweeted of late, if this was a Muslim that was tweeting about, say, Americans or Israelis or Brits or any other kind of countries like that, he would definitely be at least raided and been questioned.
Oi, lads, I smell war.
Something like that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I think a British student, was tweeting to his mates after some women were having a bit of a Twitter fight, and he wanted to stay clear of that. And he said, "Oi, lads, I smell war." And he had his house raided. And I don't know, he's under arrest, if I understand correctly.
I'm not too sure if he's under arrest or not, but his house was definitely raided.
Yeah, because of that tweet, basically. So, there you go. We're going to be talking about some of those issues tonight.
And you know that even the controversial law, or not controversial, but the law that has been suggested by Cameron, saying that Twitter trolls deserve 2 years jail time. So people are asking on Twitter, does Catie Hopkins deserve 2 years of jail time for her tweets?
And why? That's a very valid question indeed. So, I mean, these are the kind of topics where we will be covering. There's been some other things, and really this adds some ammunition to our Django of the Week. Hashtag Django of the Week. Those of you who don't know what Django of the Week is all about, we vote for who we think should be awarded this prestigious title for the most imbecilic, most moronic, let's say, buffoon to have made this week's news out of these other. Oh, wow. I'm trying to find watershed friendly insults, to be honest with you.
Buffoon, yeah.
But also, he's a numbskull of the week. You can replace Django with any one of those kind of descriptions.
These guys will fit perfectly within those.
That's right. Yeah. So they have to have done something. What's the word I'm looking for? Enormously embarrassing, something very humiliating, said something that would be extremely not only moronic, ironic, but also hypocritical. So those kinds of qualities are normally found in Django of the Week. So hashtag Django of the Week, brothers and sisters. We need you guys to be on Twitter to vote for Django's of the Week. Somebody's just texted in to say that they are voting for Catie Hopkins to go for Django of the Week, so she'll be a nominee this week. Catie Hopkins. By the way, on Catie Hopkins.
Hot wings.
Astaghfirullah.
Easy.
Some rotten hot wings. Please.
Rotten.
What a nasty piece of work she is. I actually like hot wings. So that
we could tell.
Yeah, I know. Thank goodness it's not TV. This is radio. So anyway, I'll shift those extra 10 stones, Brother Zain. I know you are my role model in that area, by the way. Diced to the socks. Anyway,
where did that come from? All right, go on.
Too many fitness YouTube videos can give you these kind of expressions. Catie Hopkins, that tweet that we put out, a lot of people, brothers and sisters, alhamdulillah, have been retweeting that tweet. The question we did ask was, again, how is this woman not sacked yet? And how is this witch not behind bars? So that's witch with their W, by the way, just in case those of you who are hard of hearing may have misinterpreted that word, even though it would be rather befitting for this vile individual. to continue, so we've got a vote already from one of our listeners saying that they are voting for Katie Hopkins to be hashtag Django of the Week. Put in your other nominations, brothers and sisters. I'm already putting forward a few names. Tony Blair will feature again. Again. Yes, sirree.
This guy's a permanent feature on our show. I mean, he should be permanent Django of the Week.
This
permanent.
Muppet, what a plonker he is. Money making knows no bounds. So this man is on his return for Django of the Week. So and there will be a reason why. But we'll go into that. He's been doing some dirty oil deals in the Middle East. We'll be going to the exact details very shortly. So we're promoting Tony Blair for Django of the Week, to take the walk of shame on the Security Council. Who else?
I'm going to nominate Pickles.
Oh yes.
Only because again stories have come up that he's been extravagantly spending.
What a rotten pickle he is.
Exactly. He's been spending thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds on lavish limos and eating out, eating cookies and tea and things like that.
That's right.
So, and this same guy is saying the Mayor of Tower Hamlets has misappropriated the funds to who he suits.
That's right.
Half a million
on luxury limos in 3 years. This is the guy who's investigating the UK's first ethnic minority mayor, the first Muslim mayor. For what? For giving money to deprived charities, deprived projects, working in deprived areas of one of the most deprived boroughs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think second borough.
He's giving too much money to those needy organizations. What a crime he's been committing, Mr. Mayor Lutfur Rahman. How you have been mishandling public funds. By the way, I'll just call my chauffeur, blow my whistle, pay him £100,000 for tonight's ride back to my second home in East London, even though my first home, my main home, is only 20-something miles away.
Wow.
Okay, so this is Eric Pickles, and I totally agree with you, Brother Zain. This man definitely should feature as Django of the Week nominee this week. So Eric Pickles, Tony Blair, Katie Hopkins. We've also got a few others that we want to mention, but we will probably go into them as soon as we crack on with the actual story. So the number is again 07477 080 248. That's 07477 080 248. Okay, so we've already got a vote for Eric Pickles. We've got a vote for Katie Hopkins. I think we should talk a little bit about the poppy as well on tonight's show. We're going to try and wrap it up tonight as quickly as we can within the hour. We find that my brain starts to shut off by 11 p.m. So it's really interesting to have a look at this concept of the poppy. What exactly does the poppy mean to you, brothers and sisters, our non-Muslim friends in humanity? If you're listening, if you feel very strongly about the poppy, then by all means get in touch with us. That's 07477 080 248, and let us know what you think the poppy means to you, what you feel, the poppy means to you, and what you think the poppy stands for. All right, that also goes to all our brothers and sisters in the Muslim community. Let us know what does the poppy stand for. Has the definition of what the poppy stand for, has it changed? Is the goalpost shifting? So, I understand a lot of people are not wearing the poppy, by the way, and there
are many footballers and other celebrities, if you want to call it, not declaring that they're not wearing the poppies. One footballer I was reading about, he's from what's that place in Ireland?
He's from Derry.
Derry, that's right.
Derry.
Yeah, he's from Derry. And he was mentioning that one of the reasons he's not wearing a poppy...
James McLean is his name.
Easy. I didn't know you know much about football.
He plays for Wigan. He's a midfielder.
Wow.
And I think that game was...
This is the guy who can't kick a ball to save his life. You know a lot about football.
This is news. Like I said, this is news. When Apple makes the news, then I'll talk about it. Today football made the news, or this footballer made the real news,
Wow.
I don't read any of the tabloid rubbish, the
so
sports,
which side does he play for? Which side does he play on?
What do you mean, which side? For Wigan?
Yeah,
plays for Wigan.
Yeah, midfield. You said which side?
I don't know which side actually. So that information wasn't available to me at the
time. I was just testing you. No. So anyway, this guy from Wigan, He was mentioning that he's from Derry in is it Northern Ireland?
Yes.
It is Northern Ireland.
I believe
because
so.
that's where Bloody Sunday actually took place, isn't it?
That's correct.
So he said that he doesn't.
Well, what is Bloody Sunday? I mean, that's quite a very strong, provocative term that you've used there on radio.
Well, Bloody Sunday is what happens in Palestine,
so.
in Philistine every Fridays and every other day. Really,
it was a massacre.
It's a massacre.
The British troops killed civilians in their dozens and dozens.
Yeah,
in the open air, injured many, many more.
Indiscriminately, basically attacked civilians in a demonstration and killed and maimed many. So
that's our British troops right there, guys. That's our boys, as many have come to describe them these days, very patriotically. So our boys they killed civilians.
Yeah, so this guy did. I mean, for them, the poppy represents that death, that Bloody Sunday, because these were the troops that actually took orders from the leaders and then acted upon it, which was killing and maiming.
So this is not really a joke. I know oftentimes we try to spruce things up with a little bit of satiric, comical humor, more like in jokes between ourselves. But this is not a joke.
No.
People lost their lives.
Sure.
People were killed in cold blood. There was catastrophic, loss of life here on that day. That's why it was aptly named Bloody Sunday.
Yeah.
So the Wigan midfielder James McLean he's written to his manager saying, "Look, I will not be wearing the poppy against us in the game with Bolton or another team on that day." And he explained very eloquently that, as you said, Brother Zain, that the poppy, it's hard for him to look at it in any other way. Their memories of that massacre are fresh in his mind. And he actually did say, go on.
No, I mean, he wasn't even born at that time, but his community still feels it.
That's right.
Yeah,
he said he was born 20 years after the whole incident.
That's right.
Right. So, I mean, what you get in it here is the memory is still fresh.
Absolutely,
he's still from that community. He's still from that. He's descendant of those families, and it's not a very long time.
He said he'll disrespect his community and the memories of those who died.
That's right. I mean, how can you wear a poppy to celebrate British soldiers, the ones who've been killing your people on that tragic day? So a very strong, a very emotive argument was made there by James McLean. What do you, brothers and sisters, think? Do you agree with him? Or is he kind of barking up the wrong tree there?
I mean, there's many like him that didn't wear, actually. We had one of the ladies from, what's that TV? It's a daytime TV show, Loose Women.
An African lady?
The African lady,
lady.
Yeah,
that was previous year. That was the last year.
Was it?
She got lambasted for being disloyal to the country. And,
that's right.
I've got her article here. I'm going to bring it up. You talk to us.
I seen the article. I didn't really go into it, but I mean, she was one of those that got lambasted. I actually thought that was this year. So sorry, my mistake.
They could have been this year as well. Maybe we.
Yeah, but she chose again. But she chose not to wear it.
ITV's Charlene White. You're talking about.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
She gets racist, sexist abuse for choosing not to wear a poppy.
This poppy has become some kind of loyalty marker, if you want to call it, for the British people. I mean, just because you're not wearing it doesn't mean that you're not loyalty, but even patriotic or whatever you want to call it. Just because you're not wearing it doesn't mean that you're less patriotic, less loyal. You're the enemy of the state as such. What is the boundaries on this?
Well, this is a very interesting point. I think actually one of the writers in the stopthewar.org.uk, a Muslim sister, she's actually on Twitter. She's asked this question. I think her name is Sophia Ahmed, if I'm correct. She asks the same question: does refusing to wear the poppy hijab make me a Muslim extremist? This comes back to your question that you're asking, or the point you're making, that today the poppy is being used as some sort of a litmus test, some sort of a criterion that if you wear the poppy, then you're through and through British. You're very loyal to our country. And if you don't wear the poppy, then you're one of those extremists. You're one of those traitors. You're a Nazi supporter, or you're a terrorist or something.
You're enemy of Britain.
Enemy of the state, basically. So it's very interesting to see how they are using the poppy for political ends here, and I think a lot of the people who did die, and we're talking about hundreds of thousands, up to a couple of million people who lost their lives. They would be outraged to see
During the World Wars, are you talking about?
during the First and Second World Wars we're talking about. So these men would be disturbed, to say the least, to find that this kind of, I don't like to use the word, but it's a very fascist use of the poppy, dividing the population along the lines of you're either with us or you're with them, the enemy. You're with the traitors. So this would
it's
really
like
outrage them.
the swastika for the Nazis. If they didn't wear it, that means you're the enemy. Wear it and you're one of us.
That's correct. So it was like, unless you wear the swastika, then you must be one of those, you're with the Allied forces, you must be a Jew or something like that.
Yeah.
So the Nazis did very much the same thing there. Another question has just come in saying, I think the poppy hijab is good. I think it's an anonymous texter. Many women that would never wear a hijab did wear it. Am I less patriotic if I don't wear a poppy if I live in this country? If you live in this country, I think you should wear it. Sorry if I'm reading the text wrong, whoever it is, brother or sister. Keep them coming, appreciate that. So I think basically the point is this. I'm assuming this is a sister. She's saying that the poppy hijab isn't such a bad idea. Some women would never wear the hijab, but on this occasion they felt like wearing it. I think we covered this slightly on one of the previous weeks. In fact, the sisters that were modeling for the poppy hijab, one of the models come forward saying that she is quite outraged actually, and she wasn't aware how this
It'll be publicized in this manner.
In a way, it was being her pictures were being used in this way, and what the poppy actually stood for, she wasn't fully informed about the whole picture regards to the poppy, as you said. So I'm going to quickly read a couple of statements. I can't read the whole thing from this article. Okay, written by Sophia Ahmed. Definitely go retweet her work on that. Excellent piece on Stop the War Coalition. She asks in the title, does refusing to wear the poppy hijab make me a Muslim extremist? Well, many non-Muslims and Muslims choose not to wear the poppy, says Sophia Ahmed, because they feel it has been appropriated by politicians and warmongers to celebrate militarism. So she comes out there straight away with the main point, I think, about the poppy, okay? Because she says here, the poppy has been appropriated by politicians and warmongers to celebrate militarism. So in the latest attempt at unabashed apologism, Muslim groups such as the Islamic Society of Britain, ISB, have asked Muslim women to don a poppy hijab in order to remember the Muslim soldiers that took part in the 2 world wars. Sughra Ahmed, president of the ISB, suggested that these hijabs would take attention away from the extremists. End quote. This latest gimmick has got to be the most ill-conceived of the recent spate of "we are not extremist" initiatives. Marketing the poppy as a stance against extremism suggests that refusing the symbol is tantamount to extremism. Okay, so she's making the same point that if it's being marketed in such a way that if you actually refuse wearing the poppy, then it would mean that you're somehow extreme. A great selling point right there. Buy a £22 hijab to prove that you're not a terrorist or a wannabe jihadi bride planning on running off to Syria to find your ISIS prince in bloodstained camouflage. I mean, that's literally...
Who is this person, man? Seriously.
This is Sophia Ahmed.
Who is she quoting?
She's just saying that, this is the kind of mentality out there. A lot of people, I don't think she's actually directly quoting anyone, but this is the attitude that is prevalent in society. That if you don't wear it, then, that means you must be a terrorist, you're a wannabe jihadi bride, and so forth. So it almost made me think, she says, that I should buy one. It might make walking through security checkpoints at airports a little bit easier. I could get on a train without being accosted by a fully uniformed soldier, drunkenly telling me that he joined the army to kill dirty Muslims. So I think she's had some experiences in her lifetime where it's been very unpleasant. Some racists probably have accosted her in the past in this way. So she was thinking to herself that if I wear this poppy hijab, maybe, these racists will look at me in a more positive light. I'll become a bit more of an acceptable member of this society. But again, she continues by saying, I also take issue with the fact that a symbol of my religion, this is an excellent point, by the way. She's saying here, I also take issue with the fact that a symbol of my religion is being appropriated as a marketing tool for empire. My hijab is a visual sign of my religiosity and devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and not a walking, talking billboard on which to showcase my patriotism and undying loyalty to Britain. No other religious group is pressured to prove their allegiance in this same way. Somehow, I don't think we'll be seeing a budding Jewish designer marketing a poppy kippah anytime soon. So refusing to wear the poppy is not an extremist Muslim stance. It's an ideological position based on anti-war sentiment. Nobody would accuse a white person of extremism for refusing to wear one, but they may do so if it were a Muslim who refused. Are there any more? Lol, we think we need to know what the hijab stands for and not need an excuse of disbelief to wear hijab. Sister saying here, let me read that text again. Laugh out loud. I think we need to know what the hijab actually stands for and not need an excuse of disbelief to wear hijab. I think she's saying we don't need to take excuses from non-Muslims to wear this hijab. Another text says here, is there a skull cap version of the poppy and turban?
That's actually quite interesting, yeah.
Good question.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. Is there a skull cap? Are Jewish men less patriotic, if you want to call it, and less loyal to their country if they don't wear a poppy in their...
I would say that they are, but I got your point.
They are, yeah.
They are. If you were to ask a Jewish person, their loyalty lies first and foremost to Israel, the motherland of Judaism. It's actually part of their religious belief. But it's a very valid question.
But how many
Jews are being asked to wear a skull cap with poppies adorned on it?
Exactly.
How many Christians are?
Why do we have to focus? Why do we have to even focus on first and foremost on poppies itself, that everyone has to wear it regardless of who you are, where you are, and then secondly, focusing on Muslims specifically, that you guys need to wear it more than anyone else. Why?
So what does that say? If they're only asking Muslims to wear the poppy, what does that say?
Because the Muslims are the enemies, and if they wear it, you become one of us.
That's right. They are asking only of the Muslims because they believe that Muslims have got something to prove. They need to prove themselves. They're not convinced that Muslims are part and parcel of the UK fabric or part and parcel of the British society. You have to repeatedly, at every step, apologize, bow down, bend over backwards, kiss their feet,
and these house Muslims
beg them to accept you.
And these house Muslims, like the lady that from ISB, or was it a lady? Or
I'm assuming it's a lady from ISB.
ISB that came up and said, "Oh, you must wear one, or Muslims should wear one. It differentiates us from extremism and all of that kind of stuff." You know that lady. You know what, lady? You wear the poppy hijab by yourself. No one's gonna follow you. And if those who follow you, you go to your little corner and kiss backside as much as you want.
And how ironic that is, that to think that a red flower pattern on your hijab will save those sisters who are facing abuse at the hand of racists on a regular basis, those who get physically assaulted as a result.
Yeah, like you just said, imagine those sisters now, because of what those statements were made with Muslims, with poppy hijabs and all that. Those who didn't wear it, and majority of people didn't wear it. Yeah, imagine even one of them getting abused physically or abused verbally because she didn't wear one. It's on your head, lady. It's on your head, ISB lady.
Definitely. I totally agree with you. And how is wearing the poppy hijab the response to Islamophobia? We are currently right now in the Islamophobia Awareness Month 2014. Okay? What's the little hashtag that they're using? Hashtag IAM2014. IAM, Islamophobia Awareness Month 2014.
Right.
Okay, and here we are with these kind of antics. If Islamophobia is a problem, if negative, racist, bigoted attitudes are a problem in the British society, in the media, in government, in establishment, in general, how is wearing the poppy the way to respond to it? How is making the victim do more work a response and a solution to bigotry and Islamophobia.
Well, I'll tell you something here. I think
that is blaming. My point is, sorry, brother Zain, to interrupt you. My point is, this is blaming the victims, the minority, the very vulnerable people in society who are the victims of these attacks. It's blaming them for to take more responsibility for their actions.
Well, these people, I'll tell you what it is. They are chained
to ensure their own security.
These people, these Muslims, I'm talking about specifically Muslims here who are promoting this, and it is Muslims who are promoting this. After this Muslims promoting this, the non-Muslims came on board and so forth. Yeah, but these Muslims who are promoting this, they are shackled in their brains and they are shackled in their hearts. They are slaves already without anyone actually shackling them physically.
That's right.
They've already shackled themselves in their hearts and in their brains. So they are now underneath the powers of the colonialists.
That's right.
Yeah, without actually being physically shackled, and this is why they are promoting these kind of ideas and these kind of theories.
It's interesting here. I just want to read a quick text, a very humorous one. It says, "Happy Muslims, poppy Muslims. What's next?" Good question. And again, there's a pattern rising here. Those of you who don't know what Happy Muslims is about, again, the pattern I'm going to allude to is these are initiatives spearheaded by Muslim organizations and Muslim individuals. This is not directly a video or a statement made by Britain First, for example, or the National Front. This is not EDL telling our sisters to wear the poppy hijab. Who needs EDL when you've got ISB and these other Muslim organizations doing these videos to make all the EDL guys?
Well, this is actually coming from something deeper. I mean, if you just need to look at America and what's been happening to the Muslims in America.
That's right.
They have created an Islam that suits the American government, if you want to call it. And this is exactly what's happening here. We are now creating an acceptable Islam that suits the agenda of the British government and their allies.
Totally agree with you.
And this is what's happening now to us.
It's definitely happening, and it's a shame because the answers to those types of scenarios are already in recent history. We're not talking about like many centuries ago. We are talking about recent history. Somebody else is coming in here with another text. We live in the 21st century, guys. Your thinking is 10th century. Thank you very much for your comment, brother or sister, whoever you are. Please explain as to how being anti-Islamophobic, anti-bigotry is 10th century. If anything, you may be right, actually. It's true. It was the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that came with the revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that made racism illegal, outlawed racism, made it a grievous sin. That's not 10th century. Correction, do your homework, brother, sister. It's the 7th century. Okay? Now, up till today, we are seeing that racism is still alive and well. Okay? Very much rife in the 21st century that you're so proud of, whoever you are. Brother and sister, I welcome you to text again, no problem. But, get your facts right there. On one point, I'll give you credit for saying, giving credit to, again, the policies that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to mankind and made sure that racism was abolished under Islamic law, under the rule of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, according to the revelation given to him through Angel Jibreel alayhi salam, and up till today, from the 7th to the 21st, there are people and generations, these so-called modern times, they're still suffering from bigotry, still Jews being attacked, still black people being shot dead by people who are supposed to protect them, i.e. the police. All right, there are still Muslims being mistreated, wars being waged against people of different faith to them. So this kind of thing is still happening. So I totally agree with you. Maybe I misunderstood your text.
I do text it if you're listening.
Yeah.
Do try to explain yourself.
Yeah, because if you meant it like that, then I totally agree with you on that regard. Unless you think good policies should be dropped, as long as we are actually running out of time. I'm going to give out the number one more time again, brothers and sisters. It's 07477 080 248. That's 07477 080 248. We want to go for a very short break after I read these one or two paragraphs from an excellent article in the New Statesman by a gentleman called Chris Allen, and a gentleman he is. Let's have a look at why I say so. It says here, the title reads, "The poppy hijab is just Islamophobia with a floral motif." Okay? This is written on November the 3rd, 2014, so only a week ago, right? Less than that. So the poppy hijab is just Islamophobia with a floral motif. The man is making no bones about this. He is he's shooting the silver bullets straight away with the headline. You don't really need to read the rest of the article, but I'll give you a couple of liners here. For some time, my research has shown, by the way, I think Chris Allen is somebody who works with the, what is it called? The APPG, All-Party Parliamentary Group to pressure government on the issues of Islamophobia. So he's quite a professional. He's done some studies and research in that area. He's a lecturer. He's also a lecturer in the Institute of Applied Social Studies at the University of Birmingham. He's on Twitter as well, Dr. Chris Allen. So this guy isn't, a slouch or a nobody. Let's carry on. The poppy hijabs have become a politically correct way of airing a suspicion that all Muslims are basically, open quote, terrorist sympathizers, end quote. The wearing or not wearing of a patriotic hijab becomes a shrouded loyalty test. He goes on to say, "For some time, my research has shown that Muslim women who wear the hijab or other types of Muslim attire are the most likely to become victims of street-level Islamophobia." That's racist attack. The explanation is simple. Why are they the ones who are getting targeted? Well, because these women, these sisters, these mothers of ours,
Symbolize.
they wearing the hijab, so those wearing the hijab are easily recognizable as being Muslim. For perpetrators, i.e. the racists, the hijab is also seen to symbolize Islam. Quite correctly, Brother Zain. Or more appropriately, it symbolizes all that they perceive to be wrong or problematic about Islam. In recent weeks, however, the hijab appears to have taken on a new symbolic value. The Daily Mail has publicized, the Daily Fail, it should read, but anyway, he said, the Daily Mail has publicized a campaign to get British Muslim women wearing hijabs designed with a poppy motif in the run-up to Remembrance Day on 11th of November. Do apologize for some of the background sound
effect.
Okay, so he's inserted the pictures from the Daily Mail. The paper suggested that the poppy hijab defies the extremists and can be worn as a rebuke to Muslims who spout hatred. And he goes on to say a number of interesting points there. But really, to be honest with you, I want to read the end, closing a few paragraphs. Oh, I'm just going to quickly interrupt that. I think you get the point and the gist of what Chris Allen is saying here. And he is a person who is dedicated in the field of anti-Islamophobic research and campaign work. So a text coming to say that the poppy is only about remembering the dead from World War I.
And two.
I understand also some money that is collected for the poppy does go to families of soldiers in war right now in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
in other places.
that's the angle that people are saying. Some people have taken.
What's the point? What do you think is the point of saying that? In the text that said that. Thank you very much. Do keep.
No, they're saying that it's nothing to do with current people, soldiers or soldiers, even. Post World War II until now.
I thought we're all against jihad and terrorism. And violence.
But you have to understand.
I thought violence was a bad thing.
But you have to understand
when Muslims do.
But you have to understand the UK soldiers, the soldiers from Britain, they're only going to promote peace
with weapons of mass destruction by dropping bombs.
But that's to curb those people who are pointing the guns first.
By pointing bigger guns at them.
Naturally.
Flying aircrafts and dropping
naturally
daisy cutters.
Naturally.
Absolutely. So,
but as well as like protecting the interests of the British.
I do wonder.
In terms of oil and gas and stability
territory and political dominance and, ideology, economy.
I mean, you have to understand the ideology of democracy, which is the best ideology, is the only ideology that is acceptable to the world because it's the safest ideology.
That sounds like a Quranic verse where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna ad-dina 'inda Allahi al-Islam. Or, what is it? وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِي غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Alright?
Say that in English.
So, the first verse, I can't give you the exact reference, but it is in the Quran, brothers and sisters. Indeed, Inna ad-dina 'inda Allahi al-Islam, the only religion acceptable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Islam. But the way you described it seemed very similar to how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was speaking in the Quran.
Oh, don't tell me now the UK is saying that the democracy is from
It's the only ideology acceptable to mankind.
It's not the
But Allah says in the other
ideology of Islam. So if it's in conflict, who wins?
Oh, that's one of those. Producer, can you Google that for us, please? Quickly bring that up.
Sheikh Google.
Sheikh Google. That's a very deep question, Brother Zain. I think on that point we should go to a very quick break, and we'll hear from you straight after this one. Welcome back to Middle Path Radio, and this is the Security Council with myself, Brother Ahmed, and I've got with me in the studio co-host Brother Zain. We've been talking to you earlier about primarily we've been talking about the poppy. We just kind of went off into that one quite spontaneously because we started to get a few texts regarding that one. So
keep the text coming along. You know?
Definitely, the number is again 07477 080 248. That's 07477 080 248. Drop us your text. Mr. Producer, you'd like to say something? Shout it over the air. Yes, our number is actually also on our app. So, it's scrolling at the top of your display on the Middle Path Radio radio app. So, you should be able to get our number just from there if anytime you're joining at a later point in this show.
So, what's next? What's next on the agenda?
What's next? What is next? Well, a number of things are next. We have Catie Hopkins, of course, by the way. Catie Hopkins. You want to leave her to last?
Leave her to last, or actually, if you want to...
You want to take this one. I think this is your forte here. This is your area.
My area?
Mm-hmm.
What? The witch.
The witch hunting. This is your area. Let's quickly go to the Mirror. Mirror article here saying, the headline reads, Catie Hopkins anti-Muslim rant calling Palestinians filthy rodents leads to calls for her arrest.
Just before you go into the article, I think if you could scroll down a bit, you'll find her actual tweets.
Some of it is not readable, I'm afraid. What happened there? Mirror is not a very good place to be at, but I'll bring that. Oh, I just lost it. I had it a second ago. But here we go. I mean, we have the tweet. She says basically Palestinians are busy knifing Israelis. She then says two-state solution, my ARSE, backside basically. Filthy rodents burrowing beneath Israel. Time to restart the bombing campaign. Let me read that again. Palestinians busy knifing Israelis. Two-state solution, my backside. With filthy rodents burrowing beneath Israel. Time to restart the bombing campaign. So, very, flat out racist remarks there, to be honest, to refer to Arabs as rodents and then to call for their, let's say, their destruction, the death of Arabs, by calling for a bombing campaign. I don't care if you want to say bombing, whether you say somebody should stab them up, or I don't care what you say. They go and shank them Arabs, those filthy rodents. I couldn't say that about Jews. I couldn't say that about
anyone,
Africans
really,
or anybody. It's wrong to say stuff like that about anybody. And here she is, a white lady, obviously. Trying to put on her posh middle class accent, and she's saying it in broad daylight under everybody's nose.
And there's no one saying nothing. No one's
battering
Arab
rodents.
eyelid.
Go bomb them to bits. Go on, Brother Zain.
I'm saying, she's saying, like you're mentioning, in front of everyone. No one's bothered
in
even
public, in broad daylight.
Yeah, no one's even battering an eyelid, if you want to call that, except those Muslims who are coming on and those some individuals here and there who are saying, "What is she saying?" I mean, this is not the first time she's actually spoke about this, and she mentions she's been Islamophobic and amongst other things before. She mentions Arab terrorists fired rockets from schools and hospitals. They brought down Israeli fire onto their own people. see behind the pictures. She's really against the Muslims here. Especially the Palestinian brothers and sisters there. And even she mentions only a few hours before that, father beats his daughter with an iron bar, but he is a good Muslim, prays in his cell and attends the mosque. So that's all happy days then.
Yeah, and she's taken, in immense pride in when she says here, the police are singing from the same hymn sheet. Muhammad is going down. Allahu Akbar, making a mockery of our religion, and at the same time, she's really just taking immense pride in the fact that a Muslim is being prosecuted or whatever it is that she's referring to there, and some of that stuff is mild, really.
But let's just focus. Let's just focus. Actually,
she also says some really nasty things. Only a couple of months ago, when the bigoted media ran, back-to-back stories about child abuse in was it Rochdale?
Yeah, something like that.
Where was that? Where the police officer, he had to resign.
North, somewhere up north.
Yeah, so she made some very racist remarks about how, and she said some very vile, blasphemous things about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, saying that the Prophet, what do you expect from Muslims whose Prophet is a so and so, treats young people this way.
Even
so
then,
said some very nasty.
But let's just put it this way. Let's just put it this way. Okay, fine, freedom of speech. Okay, freedom of speech. You said something against Muslims. Blah blah blah. All of this. But here you're calling for genocide. Here you're asking people, let's go kill them.
That's right.
You're asking people to murder other people. You're actually promoting this. You're actually saying that let's just do. Now let's turn the tables. Let's say that this was a Muslim sister, who says then, these Israelis, they're killing all the Palestinians, all the Muslims. Let's go.
Let's send in some martyrdom bombers
operation.
Over
let's send Hamas down and
Hamas should blow the hell out of those scumbags.
Imagine someone
those
says that.
Those filthy Jewish rodents. If she had said that.
Imagine someone said that. Imagine
I could be in danger for just parodying these words.
Imagine someone said that. Can you imagine?
But they said the Security Council. This is a no holds barred, zero spin, straight shooting current affairs program. Wow. So carry on. Sorry, I just want to do that commercial.
No, I'm just saying that. Imagine, on a serious note, imagine this was a Muslim that said that. Yeah. You'd have their houses raided. You'd have them arrested. You'd have their family arrested.
That's right.
For not turning them in for some reason, because they said this and you heard this on whatever it is that they say.
Yeah. And stop her from saying.
And the community will be in an uproar to the extent the masajis will be forced to give a khutbah against this.
The mosques would definitely be giving a khutbah saying, how dare Muslims say these kinds
Muslims
of things.
are not like this and this like that. Whatever they say, they get forced to say. They'll say it because of the fact that this was a Muslim. Now, this is not a Muslim. This is Catie Hopkins, the rat of society, coming and saying something like this.
What a dirty rat.
Dirties are not even not
slimy slag. Slug was the word I was looking for.
Yes, sorry. Slug. Yeah. Sorry. So
Slugs are slimy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So she's a slug, a slimy slug. So.
Yep. So
I think I was being very polite there, and that was an insult to slugs. Okay, to compare her to.
Sure.
Right. Okay.
Swiftly moving on.
So. Oh, a handful of people have also sent tweets to David Cameron. Hi, David Cameron. Does this internet troll Catie Hopkins deserve 2 years in prison? I say yes. So a few people are actually referring to remarks that I think it was David who made the remarks in the first place.
About the people who troll in a particular way should deserve 2 years in prison.
Yeah, internet trolls should deserve 2 years in
prison. That's right.
Okay. How is this acceptable, says one person on Twitter. If I tweeted that, you'd have burst through my door for arrest. So,
this was a Muslim who mentioned this.
This is a Muslim person who mentioned that on Twitter.
Yeah, and he's actually tagged in the Met Police and what's WM Police? West Midlands Police.
I'm guessing, yeah. So you can see here he's probably got no response. We know Middle Path Radio Twitter account has actually reported even Twitter hasn't done anything about suspending her account. At least the minimum. Forget the Sun sacking her. I mean, let alone her getting behind bars, going in prison, getting charged for this, or paying a fine or anything of that sort. Okay, no. Even Twitter hasn't bothered suspending her account.
Wow.
It's okay. It's all open season on Muslims.
Yeah,
it's perfectly fine to be racist and bigoted against Arabs or Muslims in general. We've got a quick text here. It says here, I'm outraged by this lady's comments. This actually shows the inner deep hatred against Muslims. This actually scares me more than racists. Okay. So, I feel for you, whoever it is, brother or sister. I appreciate the comment. Inshallah, there's nothing to fear. We are, the more we talk about this, the more we raise awareness about this. And it's ironic that she's made these remarks during Islamophobia Awareness Month 2014, a campaign being led by MEND. Okay, go check them out on Twitter, MEND. MEND Community is the actual one word Twitter handle of theirs, MEND Community. Go check them out. So that's Catie Hopkins, and I think a lot of people will be outraged. We are running out of time. We did say in the beginning of the program that we're trying to wrap this one up tonight earlier than previous weeks. We're aiming for 11 o'clock, and that is coming fast, looming upon us. We have one article here. Tell us what happened with the child abuse documentation and cases and records that how we know this country. Our forefathers used to say when they came from Bangladesh, in this country, son, they have system. They have what they call nizam, niyom. They have everything is disciplined. Everything there's a process, and they keep records. Everything is lechit for it. It's all everything is in writing. So what happened?
Bit of background just before I go into it. Allegations were made that from 1979 to 1999 there was a paedophilia ring in amongst the government and high-ranking members of the government, cabinet ministers, home secretaries and foreign ministers and so forth and whatnot. Now, these allegations were investigated a number of years ago, but for some reason the evidence was burnt and shredded and lost.
Lost is the word of choice here by officials in the government right now.
Lost. So
basically, they're covering their backsides.
Yeah. So literally, you're covering their backsides this time around. Yeah. So and I mean, there was an investigation on the fact that did these guys cover it up? Was it genuinely lost?
It's like saying the dog ate my homework, sir. Don't give me detention.
So did the dog really eat your homework? Oh yeah, you know what? We done a little investigation. We found out they were genuinely lost.
They were genuinely lost.
How
convenient is that? Surprise, surprise.
So this is the main thing. Not a number of people have come forward and alleged that there was a paedophile ring in the government, in the House of Commons, in the establishment, if you want to call it,
the highest ranks of the establishment,
the people who were ruling at that time.
And Radio 4 did a piece day before yesterday night, and they were asking an expert on this matter, and a question about Jimmy Savile came up. Jimmy Savile was has been found guilty of committing atrocious abuse against children. Okay, this is child rape. Astaghfirullah. It's just so horrendous to even conjure images. It strikes images in your mind that you do not want to see. SubhanAllah, that's filthy these monsters are. So Jimmy Savile has been, and the lady who's interviewing this expert asked the question. Jimmy Savile was knighted. Jimmy Savile was made a sir or so on and so forth. He was very close with the Queen. Okay, how did Jimmy Savile? This is her question. How was Jimmy Savile able to move in such powerful circles while nobody could detect
without
this
detection,
kind of child abuse taking place?
Not just child abuse. This guy actually abused even dead bodies and all of that. This guy was the filth. This is the creme de la creme of the British celebrity, crop right there, brothers and sisters. Well, I've got a little story here that's just been that broke about again yesterday, I believe, or day before yesterday. It's in the Mirror again. It opens up with a quote. The headline opens with a quote: "MI6 chief and shamed diplomat raped me, claims
alleged victim of VIP paedophile abuse ring. Okay? The
Filth.
victim, who we identified only as Nick, says Sir Peter Heyman was one of a group of men who raped him as a child during a party in London. Look at the dirt these scumbags are.
If I remember correctly, it was like 11 or 12 then.
These Belkoofs. A victim of a VIP paedophile abuse ring has identified a shamed top diplomat and MI6 chief as one of his attackers, reports the Sunday People. The man, now in his 40s, picked out a photo of Sir Peter Heyman, a former deputy director of the Secret Service. Look at that. These are the men that would be trusted with the nation's secrets. These are the men you put your faith in to kind of keep this country safe. Is what the poppy wearers would have us believe.
These are the guys who will start a war with other nations because of their intelligence, because of the information they gather. They will start a war in another,
because of their meddling, because of their interfering, because of their greed.
Governments, or toppling
That's right.
governments.
They're
or
toppling
regimes.
assassinations, setting up assassinations. The Secret Service of the UK is notorious for this kind of thing.
Absolutely.
I was going to come back on this whole issue about the poppy, but we've already covered that. But these world wars, how were they started? People need to be educated now. They need to be informed about what these wars were about. Who started the war? What was it for? All these millions of people that you are commemorating, what did they die for? Don't you be telling me, oh, we're stopping from UK becoming part of Germany. That is really a very uneducated answer. Okay? We had 2 successive wars. Go find out who started it, what was the motivation behind these wars, and you'll start to realize, hold on a minute, we should be washing our hands clean of these dirty wars that cost people's more lives than we can ever record in history. The Vietnam War didn't come close to that. The current wars didn't come close to the number of lives lost. So, human beings in general should be washing their hands clean of these wars. They shouldn't be celebrating it. So coming back to the story on the Mirror about this 40-year-old victim now. The man, now in his 40s, picked out a photo of Sir Peter Heyman, a former deputy director of the Secret Service. Heyman, for many years, a pillar of the establishment. That's right. Not my words, but it says in the Mirror. Heyman, not that they're any kind of authority, but just so that you guys don't think it's just Muslim anti-kufr bigotry coming out of us. No, Heyman, for many years, a pillar of the establishment, caused a scandal when he was caught with paedophile literature.
This guy was actually caught with paedophile literature.
Back then.
Did anything happen to him?
But until now, he has never been accused of any actual abuse. The victim, who we are identifying only as Nick, says Heyman was one of a group of men who raped him as a child during a party in London. Details of his ordeal have been passed to Scotland Yard via the Exaro investigative website. Detectives are already looking at allegations of sex attacks at Dolphin Square, a luxury London apartment complex near Parliament, named in an expose into VIP child abuse in the Sunday People last week. The Met Police inquiry centres on historical allegations that MPs and other establishment figures abuse youngsters at the address. So I think, you get the picture here, brothers and sisters, what on earth it really is actually going on. It's just horrible reading. And this man, after so many years, has come out to say, this is what is happening. This is what these people have been doing to us. And be sure that he's not the only one. Okay? From Rolf Harris, Jimmy Savile, to this guy, to others, Stuart Hall, numerous people who were, doing this kind of abuse. We'll be hearing more, for sure. We'll be hearing more about this abuse.
A text related to that
go on.
came in. It says, why don't groups like Britain First and EDL do something about this paedophile? Or paedophilia, sorry. Yeah, why isn't Britain First out there? Like they go out and
raiding
masajids.
They should raid the parliament. They should...
Talking about Muslim groom gangs and all that. They should go to the government and say, the groom gang in your place.
Yeah.
Get them out. We need to chat to them.
Clean it up. Clean your acts up. Where's them documents? You guys telling us he's lost, yeah?
Yeah.
We ain't having none of it. That's why there's no respect for you people in Britain First, because it's proven you out to be a racist outfit. Because if you were really concerned about young children getting abused, then you would have made a much bigger furore and a palaver out of this story, mate. All right? What's that guy's name? Nick? No? Golding. All right, Mr. Golding? Yeah, sort your act out. You're a racist. You've been exposed, buddy. You've been exposed right here on the Security Council. Moving on. We got other stories, but we can't take all of them. You want to cover one last one?
Just talk briefly about that, and then we'll finish off.
Basically, we have a story here. Okay, this is in the Daily Mail that Tony Blair has been has signed a deal with the Saudis. Okay, it's a lucrative contract which gives him £41,000 a month.
Wow.
And 2% on top. A month.
Wow.
Not a year. No. I mean, I know there are people in this borough who are living on like 13k a year, 18k a year, 22k a year. I'm going up to a little bit more of the let's say comfortable brothers and sisters, maybe getting even, I don't know many people who earn 41k a year, but there are a handful. But that's a year. This guy is offered in this contract £41,000 a month, and he gets 2% on top of every oil contract or deal that he can secure for the Saudis. Check out the commission.
That's just
getting.
£500,000 a year he's getting.
Wow.
£500,000 a year is getting. And on top of that, 2% of any top contracts. Do you know how much a contract is?
I have no idea. I really don't know about this kind of thing.
You're looking at a small contract in their millions, in a big contract, billions.
Look at that. And this is supposed to be the Middle East peace envoy. What an insult. What irony.
No, well, hang on. From his point of view, he's being smart there. If he's a peace envoy in the Middle East, that gives him open access to all those areas. No question asked. Let's just get our money, make sure things are done in the way we want them to get done, and that's it, finish it off.
That's right. It's always been about the oil. There's no denying it. This is how they've been playing this game for so long, brothers and sisters. And don't be surprised. It is Saudis who are in on this all along.
Of course.
If there's poverty in Saudi Arabia, well, that's because the money is going to Tony Blair's pocket. £41,000
£500,000 a year.
Plus 2% commission on top of every
for life,
deal.
Probably, innit? For life.
It's probably for life, yeah. An old man like this, who's killed, more people than we can count, who's gone from being the Prime Minister of the UK, you wonder, where does the ambition for evil doing stop? Well, the answer is it doesn't. It continues, and you get richer, you get fatter, and you make deals with other devils across the Atlantic. We need to wrap it up for tonight. No, Mr. Producer, you got a little quick message for us to look into there. This is the guy, Tony Blair, who's supposed to be making peace between the Jews and the Arabs in Palestine. Oh, there's another little tweet here. This is true. I saw this today. It's fantastic. So check this out. Tony Blair, he puts out a tweet, I believe, today. It says here, washing your hands is one way of stopping the spread of Ebola. Okay, Tony Blair follows Sierra Leone public health advice. Okay, and he made another tweet earlier on in the day which says, Ebola can be beaten, said Tony Blair, but the international community must come together and do everything as fast as we can. Undersigned, Tony Blair. Then, Ali Abu Nima replies to that tweet. Ali Abu Nima, I'll tell you a little bit about him. He says, I'm not on Ebola's side, but to be fair to Ebola, it has killed far fewer people than you have, Tony, and unlike you, it can be stopped. Ouch, is what I got to say to that. This man lecturing the international community about Ebola and saying it can be stopped, and what a fantastic comeback by brother Ali Abu Nima. He is a Palestinian rights campaigner and activist. He has his own website called electronicintifada.com, I assume. Go check out their site.
American-based. He's in America.
The US-based campaigner, that's right. So that brings us to an end for tonight's show.
Django of the Week.
Django of the Week. I almost left Django of the Week out there. I mean, I think I'm feeling very strongly. You didn't talk to us about Pickles. I know you mentioned him earlier on.
Sorry, what did you, I'm assuming that in the last couple of shows
we've just been talking about Pickles.
yeah. So I thought. I mean, he's self-explanatory, especially the article that you read.
£500,000 in 3 years just on limo services, and there are some So there are some haters in this borough who can't stand the sight of Mayor Lutfur Rahman, who say he's been chauffeur driven. I've seen what he's been driven around in a friend's car. Okay, which is not a limo. It's a standard, regular-looking car.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's quite an old model, to be honest with you. And I thought, okay, that's fair enough. He is the mayor, after all, as long as he's not, going into excess. Here is the man who is complaining.
Has he spent £500,000 in the last 3 years?
I can tell you one thing, that he hasn't spent £76,000 on tea and biscuits, as Eric Pickles has done.
Fat Pickles.
And we all know where them biscuits have gone. Just take one look at Mr. Eric Pickles' picture, and you know where £76,000.
You know when I see Eric Pickles, you know what comes to mind? Who ate all the pies? Who ate all the pies?
I think of Belly's gonna get ya, and then a Reebok advert. Anyway, Eric, my boy. You dirty hypocrite. You're a nominee for... oh no, Mr. Producer, he's already made his mind up. I think we have to end the show here on a quick wrap. Mr. Producer thinks Catie Hopkins.
I second that anytime.
That filthy rodent.
Yeah. Rat.
She is Django of this week.
That rat. That
she
slimy
takes the walk
slug.
of shame in the hall of Django's. Stop bringing that up. You have to let me live that one down, okay? In the post-processing, you're going to have to edit that bit out, buddy.
Keep it in. It's all good.
It's the Security Council. You've been listening to a Zero Spin, straight shooting current affairs program from Brother Ahmed and Brother Zain. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In a world overrun by neocon warmongers, and with the mass media in the pockets of the cabal elite, there remains one bastion of truth amidst the confusion. One beacon of light shining through the murky fog of spin and Islamophobic propaganda. That's right. It's the NP Radio Security Council. The final frontier in the fight for freedom and fairness. I give you the Security Council.
أبدا لن نحيد أبدا لن نحيد أبدا لن نحيد عن خطى الإيمان دربنا درب قويم دربنا درب قويم بالهدى القرآني أبدا لن نحيد أبدا لن نحيد أبدا لن نحيد عن خطى الإيمان دربنا درب قويم دربنا درب قويم بالهدى القرآني سائر في طريق الحق